and welcome to Science After Hours. Tonight, we are going to tune our senses to the invisible waves that wash over us every second of every day. We are going to explore the phenomenon that allows us to speak, to listen to music, and to hear the wind in the trees. We are talking, of course, about sound. It is a force that is felt as much as it is heard. It is the vibration of the air itself, a ripple in the fabric of the atmosphere that carries energy from one place to another. From the deafening roar of a volcano to the microscopic whisper of a cell, sound connects us to the physical world in a way light never can. If you enjoy these gentle journeys into the physics of our universe, you can like and subscribe or simply share a thought down in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, settle in, close your eyes, listen to the quiet hum of the room around you. Allow yourself to drift as we explore the invisible ocean of sound. Let's begin. Sound is a mechanical wave. When we think of sound, we often think of it as something abstract, a song, a voice, a noise. But fundamentally, sound is physical. It is a mechanical wave. This means it is the result of matter colliding with matter. When you clap your hands, you are compressing the air molecules between your palms. These molecules bump into their neighbors, who bump into their neighbors, creating a domino effect of pressure that travels outward. Imagine a stone thrown into a still pond. The ripples move outward, but the water itself largely stays in place. Sound works the same way. It is a traveling disturbance. It requires a medium, a substance like air, water, or steel to exist. Without matter to push against, there is no sound. It is the shudder of the physical world, passing energy along a chain of invisible hands. There is no sound in space, because sound requires a medium molecules to bump into one another. It cannot travel through a vacuum. In the vast empty expanse of space, there are vast distances between atoms. If you were floating outside a spaceship and a massive explosion occurred nearby, you would see the blinding flash, but you would hear absolutely nothing. Imagine the most violent events in the universe. Stars exploding, galaxies colliding, black holes feeding. They all happen in absolute, terrifying silence. Films often add whoosh sounds for dramatic effect, but the reality of the cosmos is a profound quiet. It is a silence so deep and so complete that the human mind struggles to comprehend it. Space is a graveyard of sound, where no scream and no song can ever be heard. Sound travels at 767 miles per hour. In the air we breathe, sound travels at a specific speed limit. At sea level and standard temperature, that speed is approximately 767 miles per hour, or about 1235. This seems fast. It can cross a football field in a fraction of a second. But compared to light, sound is essentially crawling. Imagine standing at the end of a long canyon and shouting. It takes time for your voice to reach the wall and bounce back as an echo. That delay is the travel time of sound. It is slow enough that we can perceive it. When you see a firework explode in the distance, you see the flower of light bloom silently, and then Seconds later, the boom arrives. This delay reminds us that our senses are not synchronized. We see the present, but we hear the immediate past. Water speeds up the wave. We usually experience sound through the air, but sound actually prefers denser materials. In water, the molecules are packed much closer together than in gas. This means they can bump into each other much faster. Sound travels 4 times faster in water than it does in air, roughly 3,200 miles per hour. Imagine diving into the ocean. Above the surface, the noise of a boat engine might sound distant, but dip your head underwater, and the sound is suddenly loud, immediate, and everywhere at once. Because it travels so fast, your brain struggles to tell which direction the sound is coming from. In the underwater world, sound doesn't just travel. It teleports, filling the entire volume of the ocean with the songs of whales and the cracking of shrimp. Steel carries sound 15 times faster. If water is fast, solids are a superhighway. In steel, sound travels roughly 15 times faster than in air, about 13,300 miles per hour. This is why, in old Western movies, you see characters putting their ear to the railroad track. They could hear the vibration of the approaching train through the steel rails long before they could hear the engine through the air. Imagine the metal rails singing with the energy of a train miles away. The molecules in the solid steel are locked in a rigid lattice, transferring energy with incredible efficiency. It transforms the cold, hard metal into a sensitive instrument, a telegraph wire for pure vibration. Krakatoa was the loudest sound in history. In 1883, the volcanic island of Krakatoa in Indonesia erupted with such violence that it produced the loudest sound ever recorded in human history. The explosion ruptured the eardrums of sailors 40 miles away. The sound wave was so powerful, it traveled around the globe 4 times. People 3,000 miles away on the island of Rodrigues described it as the sound of heavy cannon fire nearby. Imagine a sound so colossal that it refused to fade, encircling the planet like a ringing bell for days. It was a sonic event that physically shook the atmosphere of the entire Earth, a reminder of the terrifying potential energy stored beneath the crust. The Earth has a hum. Even when the world seems quiet, it is vibrating. Scientists have detected a constant, low-frequency sound generated by the planet itself, known as the Earth's hum. It is far too low for human ears to hear, vibrating at frequencies between 2 and 7 millihertz. This hum is caused by the relentless pounding of ocean waves against the continental shelves and the shifting pressure of the atmosphere. Imagine the planet as a giant gong that is constantly being struck by the oceans. It rings endlessly in the dark. We walk upon a surface that is never truly still, singing a low, slow song that has lasted for billions of years. We hear a narrow slice of reality. The human ear is a marvelous instrument, but it is limited. We can typically hear frequencies between 20 Hz, very low pitch, and 20,000 Hz, very high pitch. This is our sonic window, but the universe is filled with sounds outside this range. Below 20 Hz lies infrasound. Above 20,000 Hz lies ultrasound. Imagine walking through a forest. You hear the birds and the wind, the middle frequencies, but you are missing the deep, ground-shaking rumbles of the earth and the high-pitched squeaks of insects and bats. we perceive only the slice of the spectrum that evolution decided was necessary for our survival. Infrasound is the feeling of dread. Sound waves below 20 Hz are called infrasound. While we cannot hear them with our ears, we can feel them with our bodies. Intense infrasound can cause the chest to vibrate, leading to feelings of nausea, anxiety, and unexplained dread. Some researchers believe that haunted houses are actually just places with loose fans or pipes vibrating at 19 Hz. Imagine walking into a room and feeling a sudden cold sense of fear, not because of a ghost, but because the air itself is trembling at a frequency that triggers your panic response. It is sound acting as a physical force, bypassing the ears to shake the nervous system directly. Ultrasound is the vision of bats. On the other end of the spectrum is ultrasound, frequencies too high for us to hear. This is the domain of bats, dolphins, and medical machines. These high-frequency waves bounce off objects with incredible precision. Imagine screaming at a high pitch and listening to the echo to build a 3D map of your room. This is echolocation. Bats shout into the dark and listen for the reflections from mosquitoes. Dolphins click into the water and see the shape of a fish inside a school. Ultrasound turns sound into vision. It allows life to see in the dark, using the vibration of the air to paint a picture of the world. A lion's roar travels 5 miles. The roar of a lion is one of nature's most impressive acoustic feats. It is not just loud, it is designed to carry. The shape of the lion's vocal folds allows them to produce a square-shaped sound wave, which is stable and maintains its power over long distances. On a quiet night in the savannah, a lion's roar can be heard from 5 miles away. Imagine sitting by a fire and hearing that deep, guttural thunder rolling across the plains. It is a message that claims territory. It says, "I am here, and this land is mine," broadcasting power through the darkness without the lion ever having to show its claws. Elephants talk through their feet. Elephants are the masters of infrasound. They can produce rumbles so low that they travel through the ground better than through the air. These seismic waves can travel for 20 miles or more. Other elephants detect these signals not just with their ears, but with their feet. They have sensitive nerve endings in their pads that pick up the vibrations of the earth. Imagine a herd of elephants suddenly freezing, all lifting one foot to listen to a message coming from the ground. They are talking to family members miles away, using the skin of the planet as their telephone line. Bloop was an ice quake. In 1997, underwater microphones detected a sound that baffled scientists. It was an ultra-low frequency noise, incredibly loud, that rose in pitch. It was nicknamed the bloop. For years, people speculated it was a giant unknown sea monster. However, science eventually found the source. It was likely an ice quake, a massive iceberg cracking and fracturing off the Antarctic shelf. Imagine a piece of ice, the size of a city, snapping in half deep underwater. The sound was so colossal, it traveled thousands of miles through the ocean. A groan of the changing climate, recorded by our listening machines. A whip crack is a sonic boom. When a circus performer cracks a whip, that sharp snap is not the leather hitting itself. It is actually a miniature sonic boom. The energy from the handle travels down the tapering length of the whip, accelerating as the mass decreases. By the time the energy reaches the tiny tip, it is moving faster than 767 miles per hour. faster than the speed of sound. The tip breaks the sound barrier, creating a tiny shock wave. Imagine holding a device that allows your hand to move faster than sound itself. It is the only time a human can break the sound barrier with their own muscle power. Light wins the race. The difference between the speed of light and the speed of sound creates one of the most common atmospheric dramas, the gap between lightning and thunder. Light travels at 186,000 miles per second. Sound crawls at 1 mile every 5 seconds. This gap allows us to measure distance. Imagine seeing the flash of a storm. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. The storm is 1 mile away. This delay separates the cause from the effect. It allows us to prepare for the noise. It reminds us that our sensory inputs arrive in our brain at different times, and our mind stitches them together into a coherent story. White noise is a wall of sound. People use white noise to sleep. But what is it? Just as white light contains all the colors of the rainbow, white noise contains all the audible frequencies of sound played at the same intensity. It sounds like a harsh static or a hissing steam radiator. Because it fills the entire auditory spectrum, it masks other sounds. Imagine a blank white canvas covering up a painting. White noise covers up the sound of a slamming door or a barking dog because your brain is already occupied processing the wall of static. It creates a privacy curtain made of pure frequency. Pink noise is the sound of rain. While white noise is mathematically equal, it sounds harsh to the human ear because we are more sensitive to high pitches. Pink noise corrects for this. It reduces the volume of the higher frequencies, making it sound deeper and softer. Pink noise sounds like steady rain, rustling leaves, or a heartbeat. Imagine the difference between the hiss of a spray can, white, and the rumble of a waterfall, pink. This is why pink noise is often better for sleep. It mimics the natural power distribution of the sounds we evolved with in nature. It is the color of relaxation. The smallest bones are for hearing. The mechanism that allows us to hear is a marvel of miniaturization. Inside your middle ear are 3 tiny bones, the malleus, incus, and stapes. Hammer, anvil, and stirrup. They are the smallest bones in the human body. All 3 together could fit on a penny. These bones act as a lever system. They take the vibration of the eardrum and amplify it to push against the fluid of the inner ear. Imagine a bridge made of bone, so delicate that it responds to the vibration of a whisper. Without this tiny mechanical linkage, the air would never be able to shake the heavy fluid of the cochlea, and we would live in silence. You hear your own voice through bone. Have you ever listened to a recording of your voice and thought, "That doesn't sound like me"? That is because when you speak, you hear your voice in 2 ways, through the air into your ears, and through the vibration of your skull bones directly to your inner ear. Bone conduction boosts the lower frequencies, making your voice sound deeper and richer inside your own head. When you hear a recording, you are hearing only the air-conducted sound, the higher, thinner version that everyone else hears. Imagine realizing that the voice you know best, your own, is a private illusion a bass-boosted remix that only you will ever experience. Sound can levitate objects. It sounds like magic, but it is physics. Acoustic levitation uses sound waves to suspend matter in midair. By pointing two speakers at each other and playing a precise frequency, scientists can create a standing wave. This wave creates pockets of high and low pressure that act like invisible shelves. Light objects like water droplets or styrofoam balls can rest in these pressure pockets, floating against gravity. Imagine a drop of water hovering in silence, held up by nothing but the invisible architecture of the air. It shows that sound is not just information. It is a physical force capable of lifting the world. The sperm whale is the loudest animal. Deep in the crushing darkness of the ocean, the sperm whale hunts giant squid. To navigate and stun its prey, it produces a click that is the loudest sound made by any biological creature on Earth. A single click can reach 230 decibels. To put that in perspective, a jet engine at takeoff is about 150 decibels. A sound of 230 decibels is loud enough to vibrate a human body to death if you were swimming right next to it. Imagine a sound so powerful it becomes a weapon. A sonic hammer blow that travels through the water for miles. Inside the whale's massive oil-filled head, the sound bounces around to amplify before shooting out like a bullet. It is a biological sonar system that rivals any technology humans have ever built. Infrasound can cause hallucinations. We mentioned that infrasound causes dread, but it can also play tricks on your eyes. In 1998, a computer scientist named Vic Tandy was working in a lab when he started feeling anxious and seeing gray blobs in his peripheral vision. He thought the lab was haunted. He eventually discovered that a new ventilation fan was vibrating at exactly 18.98 hertz. This frequency resonates with the human eyeball. The sound was literally shaking his eyes in their sockets, causing him to see smudges that looked like ghosts. Imagine a ghost story that is actually a physics problem. When he turned the fan off, the ghosts disappeared. It reminds us that our perception of reality is fragile, easily distorted by invisible waves. The pistol shrimp shoots sound. One of the loudest creatures in the ocean is only a few inches long. The pistol shrimp has one oversized claw that it snaps shut with blinding speed. The snap is so fast that it creates a cavitation bubble, a vacuum in the water. When this bubble collapses, it produces a snap that reaches 218 decibels, louder than a gunshot. For a split second, the heat inside the bubble reaches temperatures rivaling the surface of the sun. Imagine a tiny shrimp wielding the power of a star in its claw. It uses this sonic weapon to stun fish and shatter glass jars. It is a creature that hunts not with teeth, but with a shock wave. Flies are deaf. The common housefly buzzing around your kitchen is navigating entirely by sight and air pressure. Flies have no ears and cannot hear sound in the way we do. They are deaf to your shouts and swats. However, they are incredibly sensitive to the pressure waves created by movement. Imagine living in a silent movie where the only warning of danger is the sudden shift in the wind. This is why they are so hard to catch. They feel the sound of your hand moving through the air long before it hits them. They trade hearing for hypersensitive touch. Snakes hear through their jaws. Snakes do not have external ears or ear canals. For a long time, people thought they were deaf. But snakes have a fully formed inner ear structure connected directly to their jawbone. When a mouse scurries across the ground, the vibration travels through the dirt into the snake's belly, up through its jaw, and into its ear. Imagine lying on the floor and hearing the footsteps of someone in the next room through your chin. The snake is essentially listening to the earth itself. They live in a tactile soundscape, feeling the rhythm of the world through their bones. True silence is impossible. In Minneapolis, there is a room called an anechoic chamber. It is lined with fiberglass wedges that absorb 99.9% of sound. It is the quietest place on earth. You might think it would be peaceful, but people who enter it often find it maddening. In the absence of external noise, your ears become hypersensitive. You begin to hear the sounds of your own body. You hear the thumping of your heart, the gurgling of your stomach, and the high-pitched hiss of your nervous system. Some can even hear the grinding of their bones as they move. Imagine becoming the loudest thing in the room. It teaches us that silence is not the absence of sound, but the absence of noise. Life itself is a noisy process. As long as you are alive, you are never truly in silence. Noise means nausea. The etymology of words often reveals hidden connections. The word noise comes from the Latin word nausea, meaning seasickness. It suggests that early humans found loud, chaotic sound to be physically sickening. Imagine the disorientation of being on a storm-tossed ship, the confusion, the dizziness, the lack of control. Excessive noise creates the same biological stress response. It raises cortisol, disrupts sleep, and clouds the mind. We are wired to find harmony pleasant and chaos sickening. Noise is, quite literally, acoustic vomit. Sound can turn into light. There is a strange phenomenon called sonoluminescence. If you trap a gas bubble in water and blast it with intense sound waves, the bubble will expand and then collapse violently. In that moment of collapse, the bubble emits a tiny, brief flash of blue light. Scientists still don't fully understand why this happens. The temperature inside the collapsing bubble might be thousands of degrees. Imagine sound being squeezed so hard it transforms into a star for a fraction of a second. It is a transformation of energy that bridges the gap between the audible and the visible, turning a shout into a shine. The sound barrier is a wall of air. As an object moves through the air, it pushes air molecules out of the way, creating waves of pressure. Sound. But if the object moves fast enough, it catches up to its own pressure waves. The waves pile up in front of the object, compressing into a dense wall of air. This is the sound barrier. For early pilots, it was a terrifying physical obstacle. As they approached the speed of sound, their planes would shake violently as if hitting a brick wall. Imagine flying a plane into an invisible storm of your own making. Breaking through this barrier requires immense power and aerodynamic design to slice through the piled-up air. Chuck Yeager broke the silence. In October 1947, a pilot named Chuck Yeager flew an orange bullet-shaped plane called the Bell X-1. He climbed to 45,000 feet and pushed the throttle. A massive boom echoed across the Mojave Desert. He had traveled faster than 767 miles per hour. He was moving faster than the roar of his own engine. Imagine sitting in that cockpit. Behind you is the deafening noise of the rocket. But inside the cabin, it creates a strange silence because you have left the sound behind. He proved that the barrier was not a brick wall, but a doorway. Once you pass through the turbulence, the flight becomes smooth again. The Doppler effect shifts the pitch. We have all heard it, a siren wailing, wee, as an ambulance approaches, and then suddenly dropping in pitch to way, as it passes. This is the Doppler effect. As the vehicle moves toward you, it squashes the sound waves together, making the frequency higher pitch. As it moves away, it stretches the waves out, making the frequency lower. Imagine the sound waves like a slinky. When you push the slinky, the coils bunch up. When you pull it, they spread out. It is a clue that tells our brain if something is coming or going. Astronomers use this same principle to tell if stars are moving towards us or away from us. Acoustics is the science of shape. Acoustics is not just about volume, it is about geometry. Architects design concert halls to direct sound like a spotlight. They use hard surfaces to reflect sound and soft surfaces to absorb it. Imagine the room as an instrument. In a bad room, the sound bounces confusingly, creating a muddy echo. In a perfect room, the sound from the stage reaches the back row at the exact same time as the reflection from the ceiling, creating a rich, warm tone. The shape of the walls creates the quality of the music. We are not just listening to the violin, we are listening to the room playing the violin. Whispering galleries bend sound. In the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral in London, or beneath the arches of Grand Central Station, there are whispering galleries. If you stand facing the wall on one side and whisper, a person standing hundreds of feet away on the other side can hear you clearly. This works because the sound waves cling to the curved surface, skimming along the wall like a bobsled in a track, losing very little energy. Imagine your voice hugging the architecture, traveling in a focused beam around the room. It creates an intimate connection across a massive public space, a secret channel made of geometry. The Tsar-Bomba was the loudest man-made sound, while Krakatoa was the loudest natural sound. The loudest sound ever created by humans was the detonation of the Tsar-Bomba, a hydrogen bomb tested by the Soviet Union in 1961. The shock waves circled the Earth 3 times. The pressure wave was measurable even on its 3rd pass. Windows were shattered 500 miles away. Imagine a sound that is not just heard, but destroys. It serves as a terrifying reminder of our ability to manipulate physics. We learn to split the atom, and in doing so, we learn to make the sky scream louder than a volcano. Humans can use echolocation. Echolocation isn't just for bats. Some blind people have taught themselves to navigate using flash sonar. By making sharp clicking noises with their tongues, they listen for the subtle echoes bouncing off objects. A wall sounds different from a parked car. A tree sounds different from a pole. Imagine walking down a street with your eyes closed, creating a sound image of the world. With practice, the brain repurposes the visual cortex to process this sound data. It shows the incredible plasticity of the human mind. We can learn to see with our ears if we listen closely enough. Resonance shatters glass. Everything in the universe has a natural frequency at which it likes to vibrate. For a crystal wine glass, this frequency creates a clear ringing tone when you flick it. If a singer can hit that exact note and hold it with enough volume, the energy builds up inside the glass begins to vibrate more and more violently, resonating with the sound wave until the structure can no longer take the stress. Smash. Imagine a voice finding the secret key to an object's destruction. It is not about raw power. It is about finding the perfect match. It is a harmony that destroys. Giraffes hum in the dark. For a long time, scientists thought giraffes were silent animals. But recent recordings in zoos have revealed that at night, giraffes produce a low, eerie humming sound. It is a deep, rich drone, rich in harmonics. Imagine walking through a zoo at midnight and hearing a choir of low hums coming from the giraffe enclosure. Researchers believe it is a way for the herd to stay in contact in the dark when they cannot see each other. The giants of the savannah are not silent. They are just shy, saving their songs for the safety of the night. Warm air carries sound faster. The speed of sound is not constant. It changes with temperature. In warm air, molecules are energetic and moving fast. They can pass the vibration along quicker than in sluggish, cold air. So, on a hot summer day, sound travels faster than on a freezing winter morning. Imagine the air as a crowd of people. If they are running around hot, they bump into each other constantly. If they are standing still, cold, the message takes longer to pass through the crowd. The weather dictates the speed of the symphony. The hum is a global mystery. In places like Taos, New Mexico, and Bristol, England, a small percentage of the population reports hearing a persistent, low-frequency drone known as the hum. It sounds like a diesel engine idling in the distance. It drives people mad. They close windows and wear earplugs, but the sound remains. Scientists have investigated it for decades. Is it industrial machinery? Underground gas pipes? Tinnitus? Or the ocean waves vibrating the Earth's crust? Imagine a sound that has no source, a ghost noise that haunts only a few. It remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of acoustics. Cats possess radar ears. A cat's ear is a masterpiece of engineering. It is controlled by 32 muscles. Humans have 6. This allows a cat to rotate its ears 180 degrees, independently of each other, like radar dishes. Imagine sitting on the couch and listening to a conversation behind you without turning your head. A cat can pinpoint the location of a mouse in the grass with an accuracy of a few inches within a split second. Their world is a 360-degree soundscape. They are constantly scanning, tuning in to the tiny rustles of life that we ignore. Thunder is the sound of exploding air. Lightning is silent. It is a flow of electricity. But as that electricity rips through the sky, it heats the surrounding air to 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This happens in a fraction of a second. This intense heat causes the air to expand explosively, creating a shock wave. That shock wave is thunder. Imagine the air tearing apart. The reason thunder rumbles is that the sound comes from the entire length of the lightning bolt. The sound from the bottom of the bolt reaches you first, the crack, and the sound from the top, miles high, reaches you later, the roll. It is a sonic map of the lightning's path, drawn in time. Decibels are logarithmic. We measure sound intensity in decibels, but the scale is tricky. It is logarithmic, not linear. This means that 20 dB is not twice as loud as 10 dB. it is 10 times more powerful. 30 dB is 100 times more powerful than 10 dB. Imagine climbing a ladder where every rung is 10 times higher than the last. A whisper is 30 dB. A conversation is 60 dB. A chainsaw is 120 dB. By the time you reach the roar of a jet engine at 140 dB, the sound pressure is billions of times stronger than a whisper. It reminds us that sound energy can scale up terrifyingly fast, turning from a gentle wave into a crushing wall. Hearing loss is the death of hair. Deep inside your ear, in the snail-shaped cochlea, are thousands of tiny hair cells called cilia. These are not hair like on your head. They are microscopic sensitive bristles that sway in the fluid of the ear when sound waves hit them. When you hear a loud noise, like a gunshot or a rock concert, these hairs can be bent or broken. Imagine a field of wheat flattened by a storm. Unlike skin or bone, these hair cells do not grow back. Once they die, the frequency they detected is gone forever. This is why hearing loss is often permanent. It's the result of a landscape being eroded by the violence of noise. Owls have crooked ears. The barn owl is a master of hunting in total darkness. To do this, it has evolved asymmetrical ears. One ear opening is located higher on the skull than the other. This allows the owl to pinpoint sounds in 3 dimensions. A sound coming from above will reach the higher ear slightly louder and sooner than the lower ear. The owl's brain calculates the microsecond difference to triangulate the exact position of a mouse under the snow. Imagine hearing a map. The owl doesn't need to see the mouse. The sound creates a crosshair in its mind. Music might help plants grow. The idea that talking to plants helps them grow sounds like folklore, but there is science to it. It isn't that the plant enjoys Mozart. It is that the plant feels the vibration. Sound waves vibrating the leaves might mimic the wind, encouraging the plant to strengthen its stem. Some studies suggest frequencies between 125 Hz and 250 Hz can stimulate genes involved in growth. Imagine the bass of a song gently massaging the cells of a leaf. It suggests that life responds to the rhythm of its environment, whether that rhythm comes from the breeze or a speaker. The universe has a background hum. If you point a radio telescope at the empty sky, you will pick up a faint, constant static. This is the cosmic microwave background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang. While it is electromagnetic radiation, it can be converted into sound. It sounds like a steady hiss. About 1% of the static on an old analog TV set was caused by this ancient signal. Imagine sitting in your living room, watching snow on the TV, and realizing you are watching the echo of the creation of the universe. The Big Bang didn't just happen once. Its roar is still washing over us, cooled down and stretched out over 13.8 billion years. Sound is a weapon. The long-range acoustic device, LRAD, is a machine used by militaries and police for crowd control. It focuses sound into a tight beam, like a laser. It can project a voice clearly for miles, or it can emit a piercing, painful tone that causes disorientation and nausea. Imagine a spotlight of noise. If you step out of the beam, it is quiet. Step into it, and your head feels like it is splitting open. It turns the air itself into a barrier. It reminds us that sound is energy, and like any energy, it can be focused to harm or to heal. The blue whale sings the lowest note, while the sperm whale is the loudest. The blue whale is the deepest. Its calls are at such a low frequency, 10 to 40 hertz, that they are barely audible to humans. But in the deep ocean, these low waves travel incredibly well. Before the oceans became noisy with ship traffic, a blue whale could theoretically communicate with another whale across an entire ocean basin, from the equator to the pole. Imagine a love song that spans a hemisphere. It is a slow, mournful pulse that connects the largest animals on Earth across the largest habitat. Brown noise is the deepest rumble. We know white and pink noise, but there is also brown noise or red noise. It is even deeper. It mimics the mathematical pattern of Brownian motion, random particles moving in a fluid. It sounds like a distant thunderstorm, a low roar of a waterfall, or the hum of a heavy machine. It has almost no high-frequency hiss. Imagine wrapping yourself in a heavy, warm blanket of sound. For many people, brown noise is the ultimate focus tool, drowning out the sharp distractions of the world with a thick layer of bass. You cannot hum while holding your nose. Try it. Close your mouth and pinch your nose shut. Try to hum. You can do it for a split second and then it stops. This is because humming requires airflow. When you hum, the air from your lungs passes through your vocal cords and resonates in your nasal cavity before exiting your nose. If you block the exit, the pressure builds up instantly, stopping the airflow. Imagine your head as a flute. If you plug the holes, the music dies. It is a simple physiological trick that proves sound is movement. No flow, no sound. Dogs tilt their heads to catch the delay. We return to the dog head tilt. Because dogs have muzzles that can block their view and floppy ears that can block sound, the tilt is a way to open the aperture. But it also changes the vertical position of the ears. This helps them judge how high or low a sound is coming from. Imagine trying to triangulate a squirrel in a tree. By tilting the head, the dog gets a better acoustic fix. It is a gesture of curiosity that is actually a calibration of instruments. The mosquito tone is for the young. As humans age, we lose the ability to hear high frequencies first. There is a sound, usually around 17.4 kilohertz, known as the mosquito tone. Most people under 25 can hear it as a sharp, annoying whine. Most people over 25 hear silence. This has been used as a deterrent to stop teenagers from loitering outside shops, and conversely, by teenagers as a ringtone that teachers cannot hear. Imagine a secret channel of communication that disappears with age. It is a reminder that our perception of the world shrinks as we get older. The high notes fade away, leaving us in a duller soundscape. Sound can boil water. If you blast ultrasonic sound waves into water, you create regions of intense, low pressure. This can tear the water apart, creating microscopic bubbles of vapor. This is acoustic cavitation. It looks like boiling, but it is cold boiling. The bubbles form and collapse violently. This process is used to clean jewelry. The collapsing bubbles blast dirt off the metal. Imagine scrubbing a ring with nothing but shouting water. It shows the sheer physical violence that sound can inflict on a liquid. The theremin is played without touch. The theremin is one of the strangest musical instruments. It has 2 antennas. The player moves their hands through the air around the antennas without ever touching them. One hand controls pitch, the other volume. The hands interfere with the electromagnetic field around the instrument, changing the tone. It produces a wavering, ghostly sound, often used in old sci-fi movies. Imagine plucking music out of thin air. It is the closest we have come to weaving sound out of pure gesture, turning the movement of the body directly into a wave. A tuning fork is a pure wave. Most sounds are complex, a mix of many frequencies and harmonics. A piano note, for example, has a fundamental tone plus many overtones that give it richness. But a high-quality tuning fork produces a pure tone. It vibrates at a single, perfect frequency, producing a smooth sine wave. Imagine a sound with no texture, no fuzz, no complexity. Just a single, clean line of energy. It is the acoustic equivalent of a laser beam. It feels almost artificial because nature rarely produces anything so simple. Beethoven listened with his teeth. Ludwig van Beethoven, one of the greatest composers in history, began losing his hearing in his 20s. By his late 40s, he was almost completely deaf, yet he composed his Ninth Symphony in this state. How? He would attach a metal rod to his piano and clench it between his teeth. As he played, the vibration of the piano traveled through the rod, into his teeth, and through his skull to his inner ear. Imagine hearing a symphony through your jawbone. He felt the music rather than heard it. It is a testament to the fact that sound is vibration. If the air fails you, the bone will serve. Space stations are noisy. We said space is silent, but human space is noisy. Inside the International Space Station, fans must run constantly to circulate air, since hot air doesn't rise in zero gravity. Pumps, computers, and life support systems hum 24/7. Astronauts often wear earplugs to sleep. Imagine floating in the most silent place in the universe, trapped inside a noisy metal tin. It is a strange irony. We brought our noise with us into the void. Fish sing with their bladders. The ocean is not silent. It is a cacophony of clicks, grunts, and pops. Many fish produce sound by vibrating their swim bladder, the gas-filled sac that keeps them buoyant. By drumming muscles against the bladder, they use it like a resonating chamber. Some sounds are mating calls, others are warnings. Imagine a choir of fish drumming in the dark. During World War II, sonar operators were often confused by the chorus of fish, thinking it was enemy submarines. The sea is alive with gossip. The Aztec death whistle screams. Archaeologists have discovered ancient whistles shaped like skulls in Aztec temples. When blown, they do not produce a clear note. They produce a sound that creates a terrifying, raspy, human-like scream. Some historians believe they were used in battle to terrify enemies, or in sacrificial rituals to guide spirits. Imagine 100 warriors blowing these whistles at once. The sound would be the stuff of nightmares. A chorus of the dying. It is sound engineered for psychological warfare, a tool designed to bypass the brain and hit the panic button. Snow absorbs the city. We return to snow. Its acoustic properties are so strong, that a fresh snowfall changes the soundscape of a city instantly. The porous flakes absorb the high frequencies of tires on pavement and footsteps. Imagine the muffled world. The echo is gone. The sound doesn't bounce. It sticks. It forces a kind of intimacy. You can hear your own breath, the crunch of your boots, and not much else. The snow doesn't just hide the dirt, it hides the noise, resetting the city to a state of primitive quiet. Rain is the sound of bubbles. When we listen to the soothing patter of rain on a lake or ocean, we aren't actually hearing the water hitting the water. High-speed photography has revealed that the plink sound is caused by a tiny bubble of air. When a drop hits the surface, it traps a small bubble underwater. This bubble oscillates for a microsecond, screaming with a high-pitched frequency before it bursts. Imagine a rainstorm as a billion tiny bells ringing underwater. The calming sound of rain is actually the song of trapped air struggling to return to the atmosphere. A sonic boom is a cone. We tend to think of a sonic boom as a single clap of noise that happens the moment a plane crosses the sound barrier. But that is incorrect. The boom is continuous. The plane drags a cone of pressure waves behind it, like the wake of a boat. The boom sweeps across the ground, trailing the plane. Everyone on the flight path hears the boom as the edge of the cone passes over them. Imagine a carpet of thunder being unrolled across the landscape. The pilot hears silence, but the ground hears the roar of the air being torn open. Sound races in diamonds. Diamond is the hardest natural material, and its rigid lattice makes it an incredible conductor of sound. In a diamond, sound travels at roughly 12,000 meters per second, about 26,000 miles per hour. This is more than 35 times faster than in air. Scientists use this property to identify fake diamonds. If the sound travels too slow, it's glass or cubic zirconia. Imagine a material so stiff that vibration passes through it almost instantly. It is a gemstone that sings at high speed. Noise-canceling headphones fight fire with fire. Active noise-canceling headphones don't just block sound, they erase it. They have tiny microphones on the outside that listen to the ambient noise, the drone of an airplane engine. For example, the electronics then generate a new sound wave that is the exact inverse of the noise. If the noise wave goes up, peak. The headphone wave goes down, trough. When these two waves collide, they cancel each other out through destructive interference. The result is silence. Imagine fighting a wave by throwing another wave at it. It is a mathematical magic trick that creates a pocket of quiet in a loud world. Horror movies use non-linear sounds. Why does the screech of a violin in a horror movie make your skin crawl? It is because the sound is non-linear. These are discordant, chaotic sounds that contain rapid frequency changes. In nature, these sounds are produced by animals in extreme distress. A screaming marmot, a dying rabbit. Our brains are hardwired to react to them with instant fear and adrenaline. Horror composers know this. They aren't just writing scary music. They are hacking your evolutionary survival instincts. They are playing the song of the predator. The shepherd tone is an auditory staircase. There is an audio illusion called the shepherd tone that sounds like a pitch that is infinitely rising, getting higher and higher, but never actually leaving the range. It creates a feeling of intense tension and anxiety. It works by layering octaves. As one tone rises and fades out, another tone rises from the bottom to take its place. Your brain locks onto the rising motion but misses the fade. Imagine walking up a spiral staircase that never ends. It is used in movies like The Dark Knight or Dunkirk to create a subconscious feeling of panic that never resolves. It is a loop of anxiety made of sound. Crickets are thermometers. In 1897, physicist Amos Dolbear published an article noting a correlation between the chirp rate of crickets and the ambient temperature. This is now known as Dolbear's law. Crickets are cold-blooded. As the temperature rises, their metabolism speeds up and they can rub their legs together faster. To find the temperature in Fahrenheit, count the number of chirps in 14 seconds and add 40. Imagine the meadow as a biological weather station. The warmer the night, the faster the tempo. The insects are ticking out the heat in real time. Edison captured the ghost. Before 1877, sound was ephemeral. Once a word was spoken, it was gone forever. Thomas Edison changed the world with the phonograph. He recorded his own voice reciting "Mary Had a Little Lamb" onto a sheet of tin foil wrapped around a cylinder. When he played it back, the scratchy, distant voice startled him. It was the first time in history that a human voice had been detached from a human body. Imagine the shock of hearing the dead speak, or the past replay itself. It turned sound into an object, something you could keep, store, and replay. It was the beginning of the immortality of audio. Concrete ears listened for war. Before radar was invented, the British built massive concrete structures along their coast called acoustic mirrors. They look like giant, curved satellite dishes made of stone. A listener would stand at the focal point of the dish. The curve concentrated the sound of distant aircraft engines, allowing them to hear enemy planes approaching across the English Channel minutes before they were visible. Imagine standing in the focus of a concrete ear, waiting for the hum of danger. They stand today as silent, moss-covered monuments to a time when we listened to the sky with stone. Cicadas are the sirens of the trees. The loudest insect in the world is the cicada. The males have a specialized organ called a timbal, ribbed membranes on their abdomen that they click in and out at high speed. A swarm of cicadas can reach 120 decibels, the volume of a chainsaw. It is loud enough to cause permanent hearing loss if you stand too close for too long. Imagine a creature smaller than your thumb producing the noise of a machine. They overwhelm the sensors of predators and humans with sheer volume. It is a wall of sound designed to ensure their species continues. Sound therapy treats the mind. Tinnitus is a condition where a person hears a constant ringing in their ears. It is essentially a phantom limb sensation for the auditory nerve. Sound therapy uses masking noises, white noise, nature sounds to distract the brain. But it also uses notched music, where the specific frequency of the tinnitus is removed from a song. Listening to this trains the brain to ignore the phantom tone. Imagine using music to retrain the neurons. It suggests that the brain is plastic. It can be tuned like an instrument to filter out its own glitches. A soundscape is an acoustic fingerprint. Just as a landscape describes the visual features of a place, a soundscape describes the acoustic environment. Every place has a unique sonic signature. The soundscape of a rainforest is dense, layered, and high-frequency insects. The soundscape of a desert is sparse, wind-dominated, and quiet. Imagine closing your eyes and knowing exactly where you are on Earth just by the echo and the hum. Ecologists now use soundscapes to measure the health of an ecosystem. A quiet forest is a dying forest. A loud forest is alive. Star-nosed moles smell underwater. We know dogs smell air, but the star-nosed mole can smell underwater. It does this by exhaling a bubble of air onto an object, a worm or a rock, and then quickly re-inhaling the bubble. The bubble picks up scent molecules from the object and brings them back to the nose. Imagine sniffing a lake, one bubble at a time. It allows the mole to hunt in the murky darkness of the riverbed. It is a brilliant adaptation, turning the breath into a probe. The cocktail party effect is focus. The human brain has an amazing ability to filter audio. In a crowded, noisy room, you can focus on a single conversation while ignoring the dozens of others around you. This is the cocktail party effect. However, if someone across the room says your name, your attention snaps to it instantly. This proves that your brain is actually listening to everything, but muting the parts you don't need until a keyword triggers the filter. Imagine your mind as a mixing board, constantly adjusting the faders, turning down the noise, and turning up the signal. Sound travels better at night. You may have noticed that distant trains or highways sound louder at night. This isn't just because the world is quieter. It is refraction. During the day, the ground is warm, warming the air above it. Sound waves curve upward into the cooler sky and are lost. But at night, the ground cools down. The air near the ground is colder than the air above. An inversion. This causes the sound waves to curve downward, hugging the ground. Imagine the atmosphere acting like a ceiling, bouncing the sound back to you. The night air becomes a tunnel that carries whispers for miles. Whales have accents. Just as humans have regional dialects, whales have clans with distinct vocal patterns. A sperm whale from the Caribbean clicks in a different rhythm than a sperm whale from the Pacific. They learn these codas from their mothers and peers. Imagine a whale traveling the world and recognizing a stranger by their accent. It implies culture. They are not just making noise. They are speaking a learned language that defines their identity and their family. The ocean in a shell is you. When you hold a large seashell to your ear, you hear the roar of the ocean. But the shell is empty. What you are hearing is the ambient noise of the room and the sound of your own blood rushing through the veins in your ear. The shape of the shell acts as a resonator, amplifying certain low frequencies from the environment and your body. Imagine holding a mirror to your ear. You are not listening to the sea. You're listening to the echo of your own existence, amplified by calcium. Binaural beats hack the brain. If you play a tone of 400 Hz in your left ear and 410 Hz in your right ear, your brain will hallucinate a third tone. It perceives a beat of 10 Hz, the difference between the two. This is a binaural beat. Some studies suggest that listening to these beats can encourage the brain to align its waves with that frequency, entrainment, promoting relaxation or focus. Imagine tuning your consciousness with headphones. It creates a rhythm that exists only inside the mind, a phantom pulse born from the difference between left and right. The deepest note is a B flat. In 2003, astronomers detected sound waves rippling through the gas of the Perseus galaxy cluster. They were generated by a supermassive black hole. By analyzing the ripples, they determined the pitch. It is a B flat, but it is 57 octaves below middle C. This is a sound so deep that its frequency is one oscillation every 10 million years. Imagine a song that takes eons to play a single note. It is the lowest sound ever detected in the universe, a bass drop on a galactic scale. Sand dunes can sing. In certain deserts, like the singing sands of Qatar or Death Valley, the dunes make a low humming noise that sounds like a cello or a low-flying plane. This happens when the sand avalanches. The grains of sand must be a specific size and silica content. As they slide over each other, friction creates a vibration that synchronizes. Imagine the desert singing to itself. It is a haunting, booming voice that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere, created by the movement of millions of tiny stones. The ear never sleeps. Your eyes have lids they can close to shut out the light. But your ears have no lids. They are always open, always listening. Even when you are in a deep sleep, your ears are actively collecting sound and sending signals to your brain. The reason you don't wake up for every noise is that your brain acts as a gatekeeper. It filters out the familiar sounds, the fan, the traffic, and only wakes you up if it detects a new or threatening noise. Imagine a sentry that stands guard all night long while your consciousness drifts away. Your hearing is your primary alarm system, the sense that keeps you safe in the dark. High frequencies die first. Have you ever noticed that thunder rumbles, low pitch, but a lightning crack, high pitch, is only heard nearby? This is because high-frequency sound waves are fragile. They carry less energy and are easily absorbed by air molecules and humidity. Low-frequency waves are long and robust. They can travel through buildings, forests, and miles of atmosphere without losing much energy. Imagine the bass notes as heavy boulders rolling through the landscape, while the treble notes are delicate glass ornaments that shatter quickly. This is why distant music sounds like a muffled thump. The melody has been absorbed by the air, leaving only the rhythm. A cat's purr heals bones. A domestic cat's purr is not just a sign of happiness. It might be a medical device. Cats purr at a frequency between 25 and 150 hertz. This specific range has been shown to improve bone density and promote the healing of tendons and muscles. Scientists speculate that cats purr to heal themselves after a day of hunting or resting. Imagine a vibration that knits the body back together. When a cat sits on your lap and purrs, they are essentially giving you ultrasound therapy. It is a biological frequency designed for recovery. Synesthesia lets you see sound. For a small percentage of the population with a condition called synesthesia, the senses are cross-wired. When they hear a sound, they might involuntarily see a color. A car horn might look bright yellow. A cello might look velvety purple. Imagine living in a world where music is a fireworks display. It reminds us that our perception of sound is just an electrical signal in the brain. If the wires get crossed, a C sharp becomes a shade of blue. It is a glimpse into a reality where the boundaries between the senses dissolve. 194 decibels is the limit. Is there a maximum loudness? Yes, In Earth's atmosphere, the loudest possible sound is 194 decibels. Sound is a wave of high pressure and low pressure. At 194 dB, the low pressure part of the wave becomes a complete vacuum. You cannot have less pressure than zero. Any energy added above 194 dB does not make the sound louder. It turns the wave into a shock wave. Imagine a sound so loud it stops being a sound and becomes a moving wall of compressed air. It ceases to be acoustic and becomes ballistic. Musical frisson is a skin orgasm. Have you ever listened to a piece of music and felt a sudden chill run down your spine or goosebumps rise on your arms? This is called musical frisson. It typically happens during a sudden change in volume or harmony. It is an evolutionary relic. The brain is surprised by the music, and for a split second, it misinterprets the surprise as a threat, cold, or fear, triggering a dopamine rush when it realizes it is safe. Imagine your body reacting to a violin solo the same way it reacts to a sudden drop in temperature. It is the physical manifestation of emotional impact. Ultrasound sees the unborn. Before the 1950s, we could not see a baby until it was born. The invention of the medical ultrasound changed everything. It works like sonar. The machine sends high-frequency sound waves into the body. The waves bounce off the different densities: fluid, tissue, bone. The computer measures the time it takes for the echo to return and builds an image. Imagine seeing a heartbeat using sound. It is a gentle, non-invasive way to peer inside the human body, using the echo of a silent shout to reveal new life. Submarines hide in the dark. In the deep ocean, light travels only a few hundred feet. Below that, it is eternal darkness. Submarines cannot use cameras to see. They use sonar. Active sonar sends out a ping and listens for the echo. Passive sonar simply listens. A skilled sonar operator can identify a specific ship by the sound of its propeller blades churning the water miles away. Imagine driving a massive vessel while blindfolded, navigating entirely by the acoustic signature of the world around you. It is a game of cat and mouse played in a soundscape. Moths have stealth cloaks. Bats hunt moths using ultrasonic clicks. To survive, some moths have evolved stealth scales on their wings. These scales are structured to absorb the bat's sound waves rather than reflecting them. To the bat, the moth is invisible. It is a hole in the air. Imagine a biological arms race fought with sound. The bat evolves a louder shout. The moth evolves a softer coat. It is the original stealth technology, developed millions of years before the B-2 bomber. Stars ring like bells. Asterosismology is the study of starquakes. Stars are giant balls of fluid plasma, and they vibrate. Sound waves bounce around inside the star, causing the surface to pulse in and out. By measuring the flickering brightness caused by these pulses, astronomers can listen to the interior of a star. Imagine a star ringing like a massive spherical bell in deep space. The tone tells us how old the star is and what it is made of. The music of the spheres is real. We just have to convert the light into sound to hear it. Kangaroo rats drum for snakes. The kangaroo rat is a tiny desert rodent hunted by rattlesnakes. When it sees a snake, it doesn't run immediately. Instead, It thumps its feet on the ground in a complex rhythm. This foot drumming tells the snake, "I see you. I am alert. Don't bother." Imagine a mouse challenging a predator to a drum-off. It also warns other rats nearby. It creates a vibration in the sand that serves as a neighborhood alarm system. Acoustic foam traps air. Recording studios are lined with jagged foam wedges. How do they work? They work by friction. When a sound wave enters the porous foam, it has to push through the tiny tunnels of air inside the material. This friction turns the sound energy into a tiny amount of heat energy. Imagine the sound wave getting tired and slowing down. The jagged shape prevents the sound from bouncing straight back. It essentially catches the noise and refuses to let it go, creating a dead room where only the direct sound remains. The McGurk effect tricks the brain. Our senses are linked. If you watch a video of a person's lips saying gaga, but the audio track is playing baba, your brain will try to reconcile the conflict. You will likely hear da da. This is the McGurk effect. Your eyes override your ears. Imagine your brain editing reality in real time. It proves that hearing is not just about the ear. It is a computational process in the mind. We hear what we expect to hear based on what we see. Sound outruns the quake. During an earthquake, the ground produces different types of waves. The P wave, primary wave, is a sound wave moving through the rock. It travels faster than the S wave, secondary wave, which causes the damaging shaking. Often, people report hearing a loud roar or rumble seconds before the ground starts to move violently. Imagine the earth screaming a warning before it strikes. That roar is the sound of the rock compressing, racing ahead of the destruction. Birds don't have vocal cords. Humans speak using a larynx. Vocal cords. Birds use a syrinx. It is located deep in their chest, where the windpipe splits into two. This allows some birds to produce two different sounds at the same time, a duet with themselves. Imagine singing a harmony using only your own throat. The syrinx is incredibly efficient, converting nearly all airflow into sound, whereas humans waste a lot of breath. It is a specialized instrument that turns a small body into a powerful amplifier. Cave paintings are in resonant spots. Archaeologists studying ancient caves in France and Spain found a strange correlation. The areas with the most paintings, like the famous bulls and horses, are often the areas with the best acoustics. If you hum or clap in these spots, the cave resonates loudly. Imagine prehistoric humans using these caves not just as galleries, but as concert halls for rituals. They painted where the caves sang back to them. It suggests that art and sound have been linked since the very beginning of human expression. The golden record is our mixtape. In 1977, NASA launched the Voyager probes. Attached to the side is a golden record, a phonograph record containing sounds of Earth. It has the sound of rain, a kiss, a mother's voice, whale songs, and music from Bach to Chuck Berry. It is a message in a bottle thrown into the cosmic ocean. Imagine an alien civilization finding it in 1 billion years. They will listen to the sound of a planet that might no longer exist. It is our attempt to preserve the sonic signature of humanity against the silence of eternity. Sound can shatter stones. Lithotripsy is a medical procedure that uses focused sound waves to treat kidney stones. Shock waves are aimed through the skin at the stone. The intensity of the sound vibrates the stone until it crumbles into sand, which can then be passed naturally. Imagine using a shout to break a rock inside the body without ever cutting the skin. It is the healing power of resonance, using the physics of sound to cure pain. Sound baths induce meditation. In a sound bath, participants lie down while a practitioner plays gongs and crystal bowls. The intense washing waves of sound can lead to a state of deep relaxation. The theory is that the brain entrains to the slow, steady frequencies of the instruments, moving from an active beta state to a dreamlike theta state. Imagine floating in a pool of vibration. The sound occupies the mind so completely that there is no room for worry. It is a massage for the nervous system. Sound is the vibration of life. We end with a fundamental truth. Absolute stillness is death. Life is movement. Your heart beats, your blood flows, your cells divide. All of this creates vibration. All of this creates sound. Even if our ears cannot hear it, every living thing is humming with energy. Imagine the universe as a grand symphony of motion. To exist is to make a sound. The silence is an illusion. We are, all of us, singing our existence into the atmosphere every second of every day. And so, dear listener, our journey through the invisible ocean of sound comes to a close. We have listened to the roar of volcanoes and the whisper of snow. We have traveled faster than the crack of a whip and deeper than the call of a whale. We have seen how sound can levitate objects, heal bones, and trick the mind. We have learned that the silence of space is vast, but here on Earth, the air is alive with information. From the click of a dolphin to the rumble of a cat's purr, sound connects us. It is the medium of emotion, warning, and love. It reminds us that there is more to the world than what meets the eye. There is a layer of reality that can only be felt, a vibration that passes through us like a wave. As you lie here now, let the sounds of your room settle around you. Don't try to ignore them. Accept them. The hum of the fridge, the distant traffic, the rhythm of your own breath. They are the soundtrack of safety. They are the proof that the world is spinning and you are part of it. Let the noise fade into a gentle, steady pink noise, a soft rain of frequency washing over you. The vibration is slowing down. The echo is fading. You are drifting into the quiet center of the wave. Close your eyes. Listen to the silence behind the sound. Rest now.